All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have another episode live here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, live again this week. Price Check Podcast here with my man Arlington A Train Lane, best producer in this whole sports media thing that we
trying to, man. Look, I'm sorry, man. Look, my countdown didn't go through, so I'm like, hey,
Look,
I'm stuck.
It's all good. Countdown or not, man. We in good hands tonight. So of course, we want to talk about all the free agency madness that's been happening the past couple of days. But before we do that, we got a very special guest tonight, friend of the program. Here, what was it? The celebrity line. We're gonna do a virtual celebrity line.
We're gonna do a virtual celebrity line. Yeah, exactly.
Here we go. Special guest here tonight. We got Misho Morrow, owner of the Archangels 3v3 Basketball Academy. Misho, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. First things first, I have to ask, like I ask all of my guests, is there any particular fandom that you have when it comes to basketball, whether that's pro basketball, collegiate, whatever? What teams are you a fan of?
Man, I just love basketball, right?
There we go.
Let me say first, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate the opportunity, guys. I just love it. It's the game that God gave me to put in my heart. It's my platform. And so I'm just in love with the game of basketball. I love watching good basketball, whether it's, high school basketball, college basketball, or professional basketball. I just enjoy playing. I'm watching good basketball.
There we go. Now you almost said playing. Now, are you a former player?
I am. I played, so I'm dating myself, but I played at East St. Louis Lincoln High School, and I was blessed. Yeah, Tigerette. That's right, Tigerette. And was blessed to get a full ride to the University of Kansas and play women's basketball there. And so, yeah, I'm a former player. I'm a D1 athlete. Or was.
Hooper then. See, look, D1, you got special claims that certain people don't have when we talk about this here sport. So definitely appreciate you coming on. So first things first, also want to make sure that we give you some time to talk through what exactly it is that Archangels does, and kind of the purpose behind getting the organization started initially.
Absolutely. So Archangels 3v3 Basketball is a training, development, and events company. So we do skill development training, small groups of 8 players or less to keep that intimate feel that also allows us to give that one-on-one personal touch and training. And then we do events. The event that I'm currently working on is called our Cops Are Cool Mentors program, and that kicks off with our Archangels 3v3 Hard to Guard Me basketball tournament that is scheduled for August 28th at Harris-Stowe State University. And that program is designed to bridge the gap between our youth, young adults, and our police officers. The goal is to put a police officer as a coach or a player on every team so that we can begin to initiate relationship building in a fun and a relational way, right? So that we can begin to make human connections between our youth, our young adults, and our police officers. And from that, the program would transition into a life skill development program where we want to build programming in law enforcement, housing, rehabbing, educational technology, simulations and mock trials and government, so that we begin to empower and inform our youth on how to govern, right, and how to be on the other side of the judicial system and being judges and lawyers and things of that nature. We want to create programming in entrepreneurialism so that we can begin to empower our young people to go in business and build economy in our communities, right? Because I'm a firm believer that it is us rising up in our communities, coming together, empowering our youth to be able to revitalize and restore our own communities. I don't believe the salvation is going to come in from outside. Mm-hmm. I believe it's going to come from the inside out. And so on that side of it, the cops will act as mentors, right, for school-age kids. They'll go in and visit with them, have lunch with them, enjoy some events with them, and help those kids transition into those programs where we're beginning to give them skill sets and empower them to be able to rebuild and revitalize our communities.
No,
That's
that's
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Then you speak about that because one thing is for sure, especially in the city of St. Louis, is that there is, and pretty much all over the country, is law enforcement, even with black young men and women, there are uh, a distrust of sorts with law enforcement. And what you're bringing forth to the academy, to this academy, and in your event is you're trying to bridge the gap and bring the two together. And is tell a little bit about the tournament that you have, because it's all part of what you're trying to do in the academy.
Absolutely. You know, we've got to get back to that human to human connection, right? We've got to get back to relational engagement, right? We've got to get away from I look on the other side of the conflict, and I see a threat, an adversary, an enemy, you know, a thug, or from the youth perspective, you know, I see a pig or whatever our epithets are, right? Whatever those things are that we call each other, we've got to look on the other side of the conflict and see a human being. Right, a human being that's just like me, a human being that wants to be loved, a human being that has compassion or grace, or there's a humanity in all of us, and we've got to begin to try to connect through our humanity when we can, right, to avoid explosive conflicts such as what we've seen and we are all tired of seeing, right? And so we've got to be able to bring us together and engage in a way where when there's a conflict that, you know, we react and respond differently to people we know, right? I'm not just so willing to pull a trigger on somebody that, you know, I might, well, hey, wait, they're cool, I know them, right? Let's try to talk about this. Let's try to have a conversation, right? So in those instances, we might be able to change and save some lives, right? As opposed to the first thing in a conversation, or maybe not the first thing, but quickly there too is conversations with bullets, right? We've got to be able to get to know each other, right? And in getting to know each other, then we can begin to de-escalate some of the conflicts that we have, right? And at the end of the day, this data is not new. You know, when police forces have just run basketball leagues, they have data that crime has gone down, you know, like 50% within their communities, and that's just allowing guys to come off the street and play ball. Right. So I'm talking about building relationships, deepening relationships, having a cop as a caring adult mentor in your life that's helping, right, to lead and guide you, right, along this path in case you don't have one of those in your life. You don't have a caring adult to help you. Right. How much greater would that be? How much more effective would we be in reducing crime, right, if we have relationships with our law enforcement officers?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Talking it over with Michelle Morrow. She's the owner of the Archangels 3v3 Academy. And she has an event coming up on the 28th of this month, August. It's going to be at Harris-Stowe State University. And tell us about a bit of what is going to happen at this tournament that you got coming up on the 28th.
Man, as the kids would say, it's going to be lit. Right. In this event, right, we want to be a blessing to all the people that's participating in the event, right? So we want to give prizes to the youth, and we're starting for 5th grade. So the divisions are going to be 5th and 6th graders, 7th and 8th graders, 9th and 10th graders, 11th and 12th graders, and then the adult divisions. So all our youth divisions, we want to give prizes away for them winning the 3v3 tournament. The adult winners, both male and female adult winners, we want to give $2,000 away as prize money to the adult 3v3 winners. We want to have a... Go ahead.
I said I heard money. That's all. Sorry, I just heard money.
Absolutely. You know, $2,000 ain't it's not any chump change, right?
Yeah,
not any chump change. And we want to continue to grow that pot. We want to have a slam dunk contest, and we want to give $500 to the slam dunk winner. So all of you air walkers out there, right? Sign up. Go to archangels3v3.com and sign up, right? Go ahead and register, pay your entry fee, and let's see you walk on air, right? We're going to have a car show, right? It's going to be a car show there. We're planning on giving a used car away to a fan, right? And we're going to have shooting contests where the winners of the shooting contest get awards from local business owners. So it's going to be a fun time. We're going to have a mammography truck for those ladies who haven't been scanned or screened. You can call or set an appointment. All that stuff is on our website and as well as on our Facebook page. And you can go and get yourself screened and tested, especially if breast cancer runs in your family. Right, we're going to have a library truck there. So it's going to be a full-on fun family festival event, right? Full-on fun family festival event that we want to be a blessing to the community.
That's awesome. And
that's really good stuff.
Yeah. And I'm wishing nothing but the best. We're going to be discussing some things, away from the show about helping you out, because I definitely want to see about making some things happen, with your academy, your organization, and your tournament, because I think that is phenomenal. And what's funny is, shout out to Tiffany Jones, who is a high school friend of mine, and she's a hooper herself. Yeah. And so she, when she told me about this, she's like, I need a little help. I was like, I got you. I'll make sure I do this. And when she got me in contact with you, I was like, well, let me make sure I put this out there for her, and even get her on one of our shows, so that way she can get her message out there, and to showcase, that there's something good that when you work with law enforcement. Now, like I said, a lot of people don't feel that way, but like you said, they want to mentor. They do want to help. There are good police officers that are out there.
Absolutely.
And they want to work with young men and young women. Now, one person that came across my way was Clay Farmer.
Yeah.
Is he participating with you in this event as well?
Absolutely. Clay is a great guy. Actually, Clay is the initiator of getting a car for us. So Clay is an integral part of what we're doing. He is a wonderful guy. He is a great relational police officer, right? I mean, he loves the community. He loves the youth. And the good thing about, what we're endeavoring to do is, as we begin to, create these bridges and develop these relationships, and as the good cops keep coming to the forefront, it makes it easier for those that are not so good or who don't have good intentions, right? It makes it easier for them to be exposed, right? Because the good ones will start to reflect, right, and show forth, right, the good intentions of their heart. So that's the good thing. That's one of the good things about developing these relationships, because the people that don't want to develop the relationships, you got to ask them, well, why not? And I know people are busy. I know sometimes that people got a lot of things going on in their life, and we all understand and we get that. But you can give some of your time, right? We all got some time to give, right? And so I think that's another strong suit of what we're doing and trying to build relationships.
Well, that's great. Hey, awesome. Thank you for stopping by and telling us about everything that you got going on with Archangels, and definitely we'll keep in touch and get around the time the event is coming. We'll keep pushing out your event, because we definitely want a lot of people to come out and join, hopefully, with everything that's been going on. Tell people where they can find you on social media and your website.
Absolutely. First, I want to shout out to our sponsors. Harris-Stowe State University is sponsoring the event, and so I'm so thankful to Dr. Colin Smith for allowing us to come on to campus and host the event. I want to shout out to Midland States Bank for sponsoring us. I want to shout out to UMB Bank for sponsoring us. So I want to shout out to those guys and say thank you for your support, and for all the others who will come on board. You can find us on Facebook at Archangels 3v3 basketball. You can find us on the web at www.archangels3v as in victory 3.com. We're on Instagram under Archangels 3v3 basketball. So those are the places that you can find us. And most of our information is on our website and on our Facebook page. Again, that's Archangels 3v3 basketball on Facebook and archangels3v3.com on the web.
Also, for COVID protocols, what is that? What is those gonna? How is that going to take place for the event on the 28th?
Well, we'll have everybody in mask. That's for sure. So whether you're playing or if you're in the venue, in the facilities, everybody will have their mask on. So everybody mask up, and whatever the mandates are at that time, whatever the new mandates are, whatever ones that they've set forth that they haven't changed, we'll be following those mandates.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much again for stopping by. And again, you're always welcome on the Price Check. Maybe you can, well, definitely the next time we get you on, we'll talk some hoops and learn more about your life as a D1 player.
Absolutely, man. Arlington and Josh, I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you guys again. It's a wonderful opportunity to come on your show and to speak to your constituents. And I pray that we have an opportunity to do this again for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you. We definitely appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful night.
Okay. You guys too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. That is Michelle Morrow from Archangels. And I love, as you can see, that's the site. You can go to archangels3v3.com and you can sign up and get ready, folks. If you got game, now's your chance to check it out, St. Louis. You know,
3v3, she handing out stimmies. A lot of y'all didn't get them. A lot of y'all still need them. She handing out stimmies, 2 racks.
Go get one. She got cash for y'all, man. So
cash in hand, man. And she giving away somebody. She giving somebody a car.
Yes,
some of y'all need a car. Somebody need it.
Yeah, that could have been me, man. If I was back at home, man, I'd be getting that car right now. Let me have that car right now. But yeah, make sure you go to archangels3v3.com. All right, man, let's get into the conversation. The floor is yours, sir. It is yours.
Yeah, so man. of course we have to start free agency talk. We talked a little bit last week, draft and everything that was happening that day. We talked a little bit about the Russ trade, some of the moves that had happened around draft night. We are now close to right around 72 hours into the free agency period, and it has been eventful to say the least.
Bananas, my friend, bananas.
So,
man.
Of course, again, we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on this. Y'all know the team of the program is the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers are putting together the senior citizen super team. We love to see it. We almost made to spit his water out.
You almost got me, man.
Hey, look, the senior citizen super team is coming to a city near you, baby. Just wait for the show. Wait for the show.
I'm getting
all jokes aside, though, I think the Lakers made the moves that they needed to make.
Correct.
You got the depth that you needed. You got the shooting that you needed. Sneaky signing again, getting guys like Kendrick Nunn, for basically the taxpayer mid-level exception. You get Malik Monk, a young, 23-year-old player on, veteran minimum. Of course, the news out there, Melo gets to finally play with his boy LeBron. The Banana Boat guys getting the team up. You got the other old heads, Dwight Howard, Trevor Reeves, and Kent Baker.
For real, man.
Bring them all.
Hey, but the more that you talk about that, I'm looking at a 2004 vibe with this Laker team. You remember back in 2004, they went and got Karl Malone. They went and got Gary Payton, and then Carmelo coming to the mix, and Russ is coming into the mix. I'm seeing them vibes again.
So the difference though between that team and this one is we're not. The Lakers aren't depending on Justice League first. Hey, shout out to Justin for that one.
man, James,
we'll get to Justin's team in a minute. I don't like their free agent signs, but they got Cade Cunningham. That's all that matters.
It really does.
That's all that matters. Who cares if they sign Kelly Olynyk to 3 years and $37 million? Who cares? They got Cade Cunningham, baby. That's really where the butter is getting spread to the bread right there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for the Lakers, they're not depending on likes of Melo or Reason in the way that Laker team needed to depend on Peyton and Malone. Plus, I mean, it's 2021. We've been doing super teams now for about a good 12, 13 years.
Okay.
That was still before they really knew how to construct these teams. Plus, you had Karl Malone that was out there on like a leg and a half.
Yes.
Didn't really fit in with it. You had a lot of just bad fitting parts. Now you got Dwight Howard knows his role. Hey, I get rebounds, I get putbacks. That's it. I don't get no post ups. I'm not getting none of that. Plays ran from me. None of that. You got Carmelo where it's like, look, your role is simple. You're going to hit open shots. You're going to get buckets for us off the bench. Wayne Ellington, you come in, hit these threes. Bazemore, Reesley, y'all defend. Y'all hit threes. It's simple. Everybody's role is defined. And I think that's going to help them. And, if you look at it, it's easy to think, okay, well, yeah, you need youth in today's game and all that. But the teams that's been winning rings, they got vets. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, when the Warriors and Cavs were going to the finals every year, it wasn't because they had the best young and up-and-coming rookies. They had vets that knew how to get the job done.
Right.
And especially at least the next couple years, that's what you're going to need. You're going to need those veteran presences in your locker room and guys that can give you quality minutes.
And in my opinion, them signing Horton Tucker let me know, or it says in the back of my mind that they believe in this young man and they think he's going to do well as a starting two guard in the NBA. But one person, I'm not going to get to him just yet, that was not to their team. I'm not going to get to his team just yet, but Zach LaVine, currently right now with Team USA, he was talking about he wanted to go and play for the Lakers himself, if nothing was reached with Chicago. But I think they're going to really look at Horton Tucker to be that guy for them, especially this season and, going forward, with the next 3 years.
Well, that, and at the very least, he has to be like an Alex Caruso replacement for you. He has to be a guy that you can trust to, defend some of the best players in the league. Yeah. Caruso, he's on your team now, which we'll get some Bulls here real short order. But he needs to be at least, Caruso replacement. He needs to be able to defend. He needs to be able to hit open shots, create a little bit when he has the ball in his hands. But I think, Horton Tucker will be fine. At the very, very worst case, his contract is one now that you can trade and get proper value back for him. Or pair him with another player to get the player that you need. But I like the moves that the Lakers have made in terms of, hey, we have to not only be built to win in the regular season, but also in the playoffs when it matters most. And if they're healthy, I think they should be the prohibitive favorite in the West.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Rob Pelinka did do some work in this off season, man.
I'm telling you, man, Rob been out here asking for his respect, dog. That's all I'm saying. Rob been out here asking for his respect. Y'all not putting no respect on that man's name. He's gonna give y'all the Birdman on the Breakfast Club treatment here real soon.
But man, I was very surprised when I seen Melo's video. He had the Melo 7 and it flipped over and said he was a Laker, and I was like, whoa, like finally you get your opportunity. But honestly, I'm sitting here as I'm talking to you right now. I just want to see the Lakers lose. That's all I'm at right now. I just want to see the Lakers lose.
But there are millions of people that are also in your shoes, and it's the same way every year, baby. It's the same way every year.
No, it wasn't the same because last past season they got bounced in the first round. All right,
but they also had a target on their back in the regular season. Like, let's not get it twisted. And for anybody that's a Suns fan in this here chat, hell of a run getting to the Western Conference Finals and winning and going to the NBA Finals. We know that was the Lakers series if AD does it. But we're not gonna spend a whole lot of time on it. We're gonna let that glory until next year, and then when the dust settles and the Lakers are putting up banner number 18, we'll talk again. We'll talk again.
No, you know what? Let me tell you something, man. I I was just like, when this whole thing with the Lakers was going down, man, they just kept signing people. When I think they're at 33 years of age, this group is averaging, all the people.
Yeah.
And like the only team that could probably beat the Lakers is the Lakers. They can only beat themselves at this point. Like, it's going to be fun to see who's going to be taking that last second shot, because I know LeBron is not going to be doing so.
Yeah.
And Anthony Davis, he may take a few, but Carmelo's going to want it. And I know Russ is definitely going to want it because he's in LA now.
I'm excited to see Russ at home. I think, everybody's talking about how it's a bad fit with him and LeBron, which on paper, I understand it. I'm not even discrediting the argument. I think it's a legit argument. But I also think that there's something to be said when you have new motivation, you have new hunger.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Westbrook, for the first time in a few years, probably since he had KD in OKC, is looking at the team that he's on and saying, we have the ability to win a championship. I have the ability to go get a ring. When is the last time Carmelo has been on a team where he's looked up and said, hey, I can go get a ring? You saw what Dwight Howard did in his role when he actually had a realistic chance of going to get a ring. When you put veterans and those guys in that back against the wall, this is my last chance mode, you see a different side come out. And I think we'll see a different side of Westbrook. We've seen Melo, take a step back and be unselfish and play a role with Portland the past couple years. And I think that role is just going to be enhanced now playing with one of his guys in LeBron.
I mean, I will say, man, again, this Laker team is just looking interesting enough. I was like, I gotta see them lose, dude. I'm not gonna help but repeat it.
Of course, it's probably gonna be some games where you look up and it's like, Russ, why are you taking this 30-foot 3-pointer with 20 seconds left on the shot clock? Or, THT, why are you dribbling so much when you got LeBron and AD right here next to you to pass the ball? It's gonna be plenty of times trying to feel that out, but it'll be many more nights where you're looking up and it's like, okay, the Lakers are up by 20. What are we supposed to do?
I see y'all screaming championship already, man. I'm already getting them vibes, and I know they want to get that rust off from this past season, and two, LeBron's going to be well rested, or he's going to be rested. Let me say that, because well rested is kind of a stretch, but he is going to be well rested because after that first round exit, been sitting, and getting ready. So he could be ready coming October, man.
Now, of course, the other team of the program, your Chicago Bulls, they've made some moves that you're happy about and some moves that you're questionable of. So
there you go. That's it. That's good.
The floor is now yours.
Okay. Now I'm gonna say this. I applaud Mark Eversley because I got to get him some credit. Came over from Toronto. He's a black GM. And the moves that he made kind of surprised me. And I had been optimistic with him the minute that he was hired. I knew it was going to probably take a year or so to get some of the pieces that he wants for this team. I know there are probably some more that he's going to go after. The biggest shock to me, it really wasn't Alex Caruso, even though that was a surprise, but it was getting Lonzo Ball in Chicago. And he's like, well, why would you be surprised at getting Lonzo? Because I never really trusted Lonzo. Okay. And I get it. He can shoot the three. And his jump shot is probably one of the ugliest shots I've seen in the league in a long time since Bill Cartwright. But my thing was, it's a solid pick. But what it does is it slightly wipes out Kobe White. And because unless he's willing to take a role on the bench, as a 6-man potentially, you also got to remember my man Ayo from Illinois, Dusumu. Yeah, he is going to want to fight for a position on this squad. Now I get it. There are a lot of guards that's on this team, but if you look at the starting 5 potentially right now, everybody's over 6'6". Okay, so. Granted, the smallness of Patrick Williams, who's probably going to have to play like a Kawhi Leonard this season at the 4.
Yep.
Now that they got rid of Thaddeus Young, but even though Lauri Markkanen is still on the team, Lauri's going to want to fight for that spot too.
I don't think Lauri's going to be there long.
good, because I've been wanting him gone for a while anyway. I wanted him in Dallas. I think is where I want. And say, man, I wouldn't mind having Willie Cauley-Stein on the Bulls, because he brings some shot blocking, defense to the mix, and also brings some rebounding, man. So that would be good for him to be in that spot. And I think Daniel Tice had just signed with the Rockets.
Yeah, they lost. Talking about securing bags, he got one of the We'll save the full running list of secured bags here for our next show. But Daniel Tice was one of them bags where it's like, oh, he got that. Okay.
Right. And so I'm looking at, for the Bulls, they got rid of Thaddeus Young as well, which I'm happy, but I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, Thaddeus Young was really important to y'all down the stretch last year.
Yeah, even though they went through a tough stretch at that, Thad was that rugged veteran that they needed.
Yeah.
And granted, he wasn't a great free throw shooter. And his mid-range game wasn't the best. He was still rugged, still solid enough where he can make some things happen on the floor. And that was Zach's boy, so, his boy's gone now. And I'm like, that's going to make it a little harder, hopefully, depending on how the negotiations go when Chicago comes up for deal making. You're going to have to lock him in at least for the next 4.
Yeah, you gotta pay LaVine. Like this, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's gotten better every year. And I mean, he really carried them all of last year up until the time they got Vucevic and then got COVID. Like, it's not his fault. So I like what the Bulls did. I really do. I think Lonzo, if you look at it, 4 years and essentially 21 a year,
that's a steal.
That's not bad for a 23-year-old point guard at all.
That's a steal, man. Like, people looking at it like, why they overpay him? If you look at the landscape of how some of these young guys are getting paid, like when who's my man that got $200 million off of it after his rookie deal? I can't think of it for the life of me. I know what Shai Alexander just got $172 million with.
They gave him a bag. So
they gave him a bag. Like what they gave Lonzo was nothing.
And what people have to understand and really think about with Lonzo is, if you look at every year of his career so far, he's really been in a bad situation. Like his rookie year with LA, he had a target on his back because of all the stuff that LeVar was talking that summer, big baller brand and all that. He's supposed to basically be the savior of the Lakers. They pick in second, which
that's a Magic thing. I blame Magic Johnson for that. I am.
If we can have that decision over again and we can go back to that draft, I would have loved to see what the crystal ball has for us if we take Jason Tatum instead of Lonzo Ball, but we can't redo that. So that's what it is. But he comes in, he's got that target on his back. His second year in the league, they get LeBron, and the whole plan flips up. It goes from we building with the young guys to, all right, we got to get some guys here that LeBron trusts that he can play with, long term. Get shipped to New Orleans. That fit was never right. Like, you had all of these, ex-Laker guys trying to mesh in with a bunch of Pelicans guys that were going nowhere fast. And then, not to mention, they go and get Eric Bledsoe,
which was still like a big head scratcher when.
And they didn't really know, what position Lonzo was playing. They had Stan Van Gundy last year. It was a mess. Like, the Pelicans were a mess. They still are a mess. We probably won't talk about them much outside of them being a mess.
David Graham has a whole lot on his plate, and
and then so now you look up Lonzo. He's turned himself into like a 38-39% 3-point shooter. He's also one of those guys that he's not going to be a ball stopper. He's going to keep your offense flowing, which is something that's going to be needed when you have Zach LaVine next to DeMar DeRozan and also have to feed Vucevic. So they're going to be able to score with anybody. My only question is, how are you getting stops outside of Patrick Williams? That's really what it comes down to. Now, granted, Lonzo is solid defensively, but it's looking a little shaky on that end. But I can take my chances with that, knowing that I've got go-to scorers in LaVine and DeRozan, and to a slightly lesser extent.
Patrick Williams was devised like a Kawhi Leonard type, and he can be rugged. Granted, I think at his listed weight was like 205, but
Right.
I think he's going to. I really think he's going to put some weight on, so he can play. He's going to have to play like a Charles Barkley if he's going to play a 4. You know what I mean? So it's going to make it a little bit more difficult because he's going to be undersized. He's going to be going against guys 6'10", 6'11", playing against guys like Kevin Durant if need be. So it's going to be difficult. DeMar DeRozan coming into the mix was a great pickup for the Bulls, because they're going to want to run. I think Donovan's guys are going to want to run in this regime, man. And you got Nikola at the 5. Not as I think about it, Paul Millsap is 6'7", but granted he's like 250 pounds.
Yeah,
so Paul he plays a 4, right? But,
Paul Millsap is a little bit of a tank, but
so
I think the Bulls they did what was necessary. Like, you got to start spending money, you got to start bringing in guys that can try to help you win now, and get off the youth program. So I do think they need to figure out exactly how it's going to work in terms of incorporating Kobe White, because I think he's a guy that you still have to try to develop. And gave them some big minutes, the last couple of years in terms of being able to score off the bench, things like that. They're going to be solid. Now, where this is going to lead us is where exactly they fall in that hierarchy in the East. Because I think throughout everything that we've seen so far in free agency, there's a very clear top tier, which right now I would only put Brooklyn and Milwaukee in. I think Miami is close. I just got to see it first. I got to see exactly how everything works, but I think Miami's the closest team to that tier. They're just not quite there yet.
Right.
And then you have like Atlanta, Philly, to a lesser extent, Boston, Chicago, and I would even throw Charlotte in there because let's not forget the Hornets, when they were fully healthy last year, they were competing for a top 6 seed.
Not to mention, even though the Pacers in that fold too, in that lower tier. I can't put Boston in the lower tier. I know it seems like that's what's happened, but they still around that mid tier with the Atlantas, the Sixers, and such. Even the Knicks, the Knicks have moved up tremendously, especially
I think we're gonna see what type of team the Knicks really are, because I think I've said this about Miami last year going from the bubble to this most recent regular season. I've said it to a lesser extent about what Atlanta's going to have to do next year, going from the way that they turned up in the playoffs into next regular season. It is very easy in the NBA to be the hunter, but it's not easy to be the hunted. And when you got a target on your back, Phoenix is going to have to deal with this next year too. When you have that target on your back, night in and night out throughout the regular season, those games don't always go the same way that you play them out in your head, or the way that they seem like they should go on paper, because you're getting everybody's best game now. And so the reason I included Boston in that lower tier, though, is because while I think Tatum and Brown, obviously two franchise cornerstones, you locked in there in terms of your top 2 guys, I still don't know exactly what they're doing in building out the rest of their roster. They gave away Kemba, who's now in New York, which I got my questions about that, just because I don't think Kemba's going to hold up from a health standpoint. But Boston, they don't really have the guys that I feel like could put them in the championship conversation right now. They still could probably go that move, but I don't think they're there yet, unless Jason Tatum has like another leap that he's about to take that we don't know about.
Right. And what you want to say with Al Horford, of course, they got Daniel Williams. I can see where you're coming from, but they have always been in that mid area for so long. Now, pushing them back down, it could happen, but also at the same time, they still be ranging around that 3 to 6. With the Bulls themselves, they'll be looking at 6 to 8, probably. If they do this play-in tournament again, they'll be around somewhere between 7 and 10. I think
it's a safe I think if they're not in the play-in, something's wrong. The Bulls, like if they're not in the play-in, like they should be able to beat enough teams just with their offense to be in the play-in. But like, the East is gonna be tough this year. Like we used to seeing, those teams at the bottom having losing records making the playoffs. I don't think that's gonna fly this year because you think about it. You got the Hornets, like I said, when they were healthy last year, all things were fine when they were as high as like the 5th or 6th seed at different points in the regular season. Indiana, just off the strength of changing coaches, is going to be better. You've got the Knicks that are still in the mix. We talked about the Celtics, the Bulls. You just got a lot of those teams that are going to have to fall somewhere between 5 and 10, where you can see the 10th team getting as high as 5th. You can see the 5th team falling as low as 10th. Like it's going to be a lot of moving in that second half of the Eastern Conference. Now, again, I think it's still a pretty big gap between, the likes of Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and like I said, to a lesser extent, Miami. But it's a lot of teams in the East that can also do damage. So shout out to those Eastern Conference teams stepping it up a little bit so that they can try to shed that Eastern Conference tag for the past few years.
I know that, and that's something that's huge, man. That I'm proud of. Again, I'm proud of Mark Eversley for the job that he's been doing so far. One hit that we saw was Milwaukee took a hit losing PJ Tucker to Miami. True. Now I don't know if that's hard because they have a team. You got your star Jimmy Butler, and then you have pieces around it with Bam Adebayo, who's an all-star. You kept Duncan Robinson, gave him the highest contract for an undraftee. They really believe in Duncan Robinson. So you got Tyler Hero. You also you kept Goran Dragic. So
they shipped out Goran Dragic in the signing trade for Kyle Lowry. So as of right now, right now, Dragic is going to be in Toronto, but they might buy him out or trade him. So we'll have to see how long he actually stays in Toronto.
It's interesting enough that Kyle Lowry going to Miami, for some strange reason to me, doesn't better them and have a chance of beating out on Milwaukee.
So that's kind of why I said I have to see it. Like I think Lowry is a little bit of an upgrade over Dragic, but I also don't know how improved the roster is overall, right? So like you lose. Granted, Ariza wasn't great for them. Iguodala wasn't great for them last year, but those are still bodies that you can use throughout the regular season. You bring in PJ. They brought in Markieff, so there's a little bit of an offset there. Markieff Morris. They brought back Oladipo. Now I don't know how much Oladipo is going to actually give them and whether or not he's going to be healthy at all. But they're making some moves. I want to see how all the pieces fit before I make a definitive prediction on them one way or another. But I think as of right now, in the moves we've seen so far, they're the only other team in the East that can consider themselves in the conversation with Milwaukee and Brooklyn. I think it's that group and then a pretty significant drop off.
Do you think the Nets losing Spencer Dinwiddie is a good thing, or is that they should have gave up on him so easy?
Well, I mean, it's never a good thing to lose talented players, but at the same time, that it wasn't realistic for them to keep him happy. And they just didn't have the money to pay him. Once you get guys like Durant, Harden, and Irving all in the same building, money start getting a little scarce. The pockets don't stretch as far as you think they do. So, they did good by bringing in Patty Mills. They got some solid vets. They locked Blake Griffin in again. Brought in James Johnson. I like the guard that they got in the draft, Cameron Thomas out of LSU. So they still solid. At the end of the day, I think if healthy, they have to be the favorite in the East, even with what we just saw from Milwaukee and Giannis. Because again, let's not forget, if Kevin Durant is in a size 13 instead of a size 14, it's heads and beds, and Nets are on to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, definitely. Right. It was just literally inches.
Yeah, it really was. So I think they have to be the favorites in the East going into next year. But I think Milwaukee is still like even losing PJ Tucker, they brought back Bobby Portis. They'll have Dante DiVincenzo healthy again next year. So kind of an acquisition within the team almost. I've heard I'm not reporting this by any means. I'm not giving y'all no sources said right now, but I've heard that they are in the market to get Lauri Markkanen if he decides not to go back to Chicago, which I mean, if you're the Bucks and you can add Markkanen to what you have, I think that's a pretty good offseason. Even
give us one of them Antetokounmpo boys.
Right. Don't get up. What's it? Thanasis, the one that was with Milwaukee. He's gonna foul. He's gonna foul out in like 2 minutes. You don't want him.
Hey, I need bodies, man. That's how I'm looking at it with this Bulls team. But again, anyway, Lauri's time is up in Chicago, man, and it's unfortunate. It really is, man, because you saw promise with him, but it just seemed like he just could not get it together, especially after he had a couple injuries and whatnot. And I think he was on the COVID-19 list himself. So
right.
It was hard, hard to get back into that swing of things. So I'm wishing him the best because I don't see him in Chicago much longer.
Well, he's still out there. Mr. Played himself. Dennis Schroeder is still out there. Man,
he sure did.
Look, played himself something terrible, man.
He gonna be going to Minnesota.
4 years, 84. Look, so he turned down the exact same contract that Lonzo Ball signed, thinking that he was going to get $100 million, and got out here on the market and just seen that money wasn't out there. Not after the performance he had in the playoffs. Now, to be fair to him, he was coming off of COVID at the time as well. And as we've seen, not even just in the NBA, but across all sports, those first, 2 to 3 weeks coming off of COVID, players just don't look like themselves. And unfortunately for him, those first 2-3 weeks off of COVID were the playoffs. So, didn't work out well for him. But, if the Lakers are thinking and can pull it off, they might use him as a sign and trade piece to go get another player to add to the roster. So we'll see.
We got to go to Boston or something, man, because it's gonna be difficult for him to get whatever he said he's looking for.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, all the cap space is gone. So I don't know where he's getting $100 million from at all.
Sacramento won't even give him that money.
Hey, you better go get a quick pick.
Toronto? Toronto probably would be a better,
at this point, he better off playing Powerball. Like $100 million not just gonna drop on you out of the NBA no more. You better go try your hand at something else.
Oh my God, yeah, it's bad, man. Like he bet on himself, man. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it work out. Other times, just won't do it.
Yeah. So poor Dennis Schroeder. He'll find himself on his feet here soon. But that's a good segue for us to go over to the Western Conference now. We've talked about the Lakers. Don't need to spend much more time on them. The team that I want to talk about next is the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I want to talk about the Warriors is because I think as it stands right now, they have to be looked at. If you're saying the Lakers are the best team in the West, I think they have to be looked at as the second best team in the West.
Ooh. Dang.
I think the Warriors have to be looked at as the second best team in the West because, again, just knowing what we know today, this is, August 4th?
Yes.
So, again, a lot of time before the season starts, a lot of time before we see what the result of the season is. But, of course, we saw what Steph did last year. You're assuming right now that Klay Thompson is going to be Klay Thompson. Like, there's not going to be much slippage. Granted, I don't think he's going to move in the same way that he did before, but at the same time, his game wasn't predicated on crazy athleticism or anything like that. So Klay will still be Klay. You're going to assume at that point Draymond is still Draymond. Mm-hmm. They have Wiseman, who obviously coming off an injury, a little bit of a rough rookie season. I think he'll fit in a lot better now that they have what they envision is their team around them. I like both of the rookies that they got. Jonathan Kuminga was, jumping out the gym here in their summer league game tonight. Moses Moody, hell of a player out of Arkansas.
Yes.
Very quietly, they signed Otto Porter Jr. to a vet minimum. They got Bielisa, the foreign shooter from the Kings. Never been on a good team. I imagine you get somebody like that can shoot with the Warriors. That's going to get a lot of open shots. He'll fit in just fine.
Yes, yes, he will.
So they still have the pieces around those guys. So I think if all things equal, everybody healthy, I think the Warriors will be the second best team in the West.
That'd be good to see, man, because even though the Warriors were bad, they still on television, they still were entertaining to watch. You know what I mean? Despite the fact that they had their struggles. And that is going to be second best team is just so high to say that because you also got to remember Phoenix, even though they lost Campaign, he's a free agent. So it's interesting to see where he turns up if he does return to Phoenix. And that'd be big for them, especially off the bench. Also, them getting Day'Ron Sharpe in the draft, they're going to need somebody just in case Sarek and Kaminsky go down again. Or Kaminsky didn't go down, but Kaminsky didn't show up. I mean, you got to have some kind of beef when Ayton, because he can't stay in the game much longer because he loves to foul.
Well, so I'm also looking at it from the standpoint of, I think Phoenix will take a slight step back. They're not going to be, in the play-in or anything like that. But they'll, instead of being like the first or second best team in the West, probably be somewhere between third and fourth. Yeah, like I don't see them dropping past having home court in the first round. But I again, just looking at what we've seen throughout the playoffs, if you get a healthy Warriors team matched up with that Suns team that we just watched, I think I will still give the edge to the Warriors. The Suns were lights out, but Campaign had a hell of a playoffs. Can you count on that for a full year from Campaign? Not taking anything away from him, but he was in the G League and overseas for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So can you count on that for another year? Devin Booker had some amazing performances in the playoffs, but he also had some games where he put up 10 points and 7 for 21 shooting. Like, he's going to have his inconsistent nights. You're going to have your games where Ayton looks great. You're also going to have your games where Ayton gets 6 fouls in 15 minutes. So you got to take the good with the bad. But we've also known when the Warriors have been rolling at their highest and playing their best basketball, they're a finals contender.
Oh yeah, all day, every day, exactly. And if you really look at it, I guess we could say the West has regressed a bit.
Yeah, and so the West has taken a little bit of a step back. The Suns, they didn't do much. I think they got JaVale McGee for like a $5 million 1-year contract to be the backup center. But you look at the rest of the West, so you've got the Lakers, Warriors, Suns. The Jazz are still in there. They made a couple quiet moves. They got Rudy Gay from San Antonio. We don't need to spend a whole lot of time. The Jazz are going to be the Jazz are going to be the Jazz. They'll lose in the first and second round. We won't think much of it. It's fine. But you got to think, like the Nuggets, they're still going to be without Jamal Murray for most of the year, coming off of his ACL injury.
They didn't make any moves.
Yeah, they brought in Jeff Green and JaMychal Green. Not really moving the needle a whole much for the Nuggets. So they've got an injury situation to deal with. You've got the Clippers. They're going to basically be without Kawhi all year. Hell, if I had to guess, they might be in the play-in next year. Because you won't have Kawhi. They haven't been able to make many moves to upgrade the team. They've only been able to bring back Batum, and I think that's pretty much it, like outside of the guys that they've drafted. So it's going to be a long season for them. We don't know what the hell is going to happen with Portland. If Dame decides that he wants to get out, even if he stays, we saw that they can't guard anybody. So they're not getting any stops. The Mavericks, they're fine. They also can't guard anybody. And, realistically, how far can we expect Luka to carry them just by himself? Even though I like them getting some of the shooters that they got, it's still him and a bunch of dudes. And
Yes.
then, you know, you got your Grizzlies, Pelicans, like those teams aren't winning at all. So I think if you really
Spurs,
look at
they out of the mix now.
yeah, you look at the way the teams are currently constructed, I got to give the Warriors that edge because if they're healthy and these other teams aren't, they're gonna look like the Warriors of old.
Nah, man. The way that you put it, it is heads and beds for the rest of the West, man. Like you're not gonna see the Kings get up there. You're not gonna see like you said, the Grizz, you're not gonna see those guys. It's wow, you are right that the Warriors are the number 2 team coming back into this mix, granted that they all stay healthy.
Yeah, so if you get a healthy Steph, a healthy Clay, you know, the Splash Brothers are back in business. The doors are back open. They welcoming clients whenever you want to come visit. They back in business. Man.
Yeah, but this is the Lakers. This is going to be the Lakers conference this year. Like everything is put to them in place for them to get to the NBA Finals again.
Now, of course, got to stay healthy, but I do think that, just from a basketball standpoint, can we get another? Well, not another, but a Warriors Lakers Western Conference Finals? Can we get that? Can we get that? Can we make that happen?
They will have to be what
1 and 2.
1 and 2, or 1 and 2, or 1 and 3 and 4. I mean 1 and 3, and or 2 and 3, something like that, man. Something's gonna have to give, man, because there's no way. I don't think, and if even if the Warriors were to get one of them low seeds, they'll make a way to make a run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So that's what be the fun part about this Warrior team, and I feel for Cade Cunningham. Like, for real. I really do. Really feel for Cade Cunningham, man.
Hey, look, Cade's fine. Cade is going
to Cade's going to be fine. It's just the rest
Cade
of
is going to soak up that love out in Detroit, and he's going – honestly, I think Detroit, they're not going to be good. We know that. They're not going to be, you know, a winning team. But at the same time, I do think they have some of the pieces you need to really build a contender. You got your star guy now in Cade. I like the draft picks from last year, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart. Those guys really came along and played well down the stretch last year. They got a lot of good minutes out of Josh Jackson, who we thought should have just been out of the league by that point.
Rolled off, literally.
Yeah, people wrote him off, and he played some really good minutes for them last year. Detroit, they got the bones of a team that can start making some moves. Give them one more really high lottery pick, and they might be on to something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they will be on to something, man. And not to mention the second round pick, Luka Garza, came out of Iowa. Yeah. A lot of people looking at him. He reminds me a bit of Louis Scola, when he used to play. But and a bit of, and this is just me personally, I'd say Rafe LaFrance. You remember Rafe LaFrance when he used to play?
Do remember Rafe. Another big white man that was out here stealing checks at one point in his career.
Nick Collison did the same, all right? But if they can continue, Joe Dumars ain't over there no more, so they actually do have a chance to make something better of themselves while they're there. So Detroit's future is bright, but like you said, I don't see them doing a lot of winning, especially next season or even the next after that.
No need to. Just go, like I said, go ahead, stack up them high lottery picks as much as you can now. Look, Philly gave us the blueprints of the process. Now, granted, they probably went about it slightly wrong. But,
probably so.
But they gave us the blueprint. You follow the blueprint, you make the tweak you need to. Detroit, if you're listening to this, you got your first star. Go ahead, add one more, maybe two, and you're right there in business. You're right there.
Amen to that. Amen. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Yes. Oh man, we got an hour in for real, dude.
Yeah, so we really snuck up on the hour mark, man. So I think that covers all the main stories that I wanted to hit. Like I said, we'll do some secure the bag shout outs.
When all of it's said and done.
Yeah, all of it's said and done. I'll be watching to see what happens with Olympic basketball here tonight going into the morning.
That's right. They about an hour from now.
Yeah, so USA takes on Australia, and then Luka and the guys in Slovenia. He just got. I mean,
he got ridiculous, dude.
He picked some dudes out of an apartment complex. Like, hey, y'all want to hoop? Like, and just like, look, just pass the ball to Will. It's the Bel Air Academy out here.
Pass the ball to Will like that, Bel Air Academy.
Yeah, pass the ball to Will, man. It's fine.
He ain't lost either, man. That's what's the fun part about this dude. So, so are we expecting the Slovenia versus USA matchup in the final?
Yes. It would be great to see Luka just go off and take down the United States by himself, but that's also not very patriotic of me to say that.
But it also be a tall task.
It would.
Because he would literally have to carry him, kind of like it's funny. Vince Carter been on these telecasts, mm-hmm. and he was mentioning about Ricky Rubio and how good he plays during FIBA play, but it shows the same amount in the NBA. Now, I said the ball is different than what they play in the NBA. I think the NBA ball is a bit bigger than what the FIBA ball is. So it seemed like whatever Ricky took, man, Ricky was knocking it down.
Hey, man, like y'all got to understand, Ricky was out here at 18 years old giving cats work in the 2008 Olympics?
Yeah,
he was up there starting for Spain at like 18.
Yeah.
Ricky, he ain't new to this. He true to this, baby. He does the FIBA thing. He does the FIBA thing, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
but no, there's been another great edition. Price Check Podcast here live, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, across all platforms. Big shout out again to my man Arlington A-Train Lane, best producer in all the sports media. I stand on it. Until next time, man, we're gonna have a few more days of free agency fun, some summer league fun, and then got a nice little time period before the season starts where I'll also, the next time that we do this podcast, be looking at some potential wagers for those in the legal betting states out there. We'll talk about some safe.
I don't even think I am, man. That's what's kind of funny, man. Where I'm at, I don't even think it's legal here.
Oh no, you're in Texas. They don't have casinos. You're nowhere near free.
They don't even have sports books, dog. Like no sports books nowhere.
No, see, luckily for us here in St. Louis, we just drive right on across the water over in Illinois. All you gotta do is let your cell phone ping off the tower, baby. You're in there.
Exactly, man. So good luck to you on those, man. Because I know we'll talk about it at another time, man. But I got some football stuff, I got cooking up. Mm-hmm.
We might have to do a football edition of the Price Check right before. But
may have to, man.
We might have to see that. So until next time, though, man, we appreciate everybody that checked us out here. Thank you to StreamYard. Like I said, checking us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. But until next time, man, checking out.